translate to fully show our attractiveness and this business model, especially in China. Probably IC can understand resort market because Brookfield has resort asset around the world. But in China, while we so unique and our competitive advantage, it's something we are trying to help to build up, both from quantitative side, and we're doing market sizing to say, the growth, quantitative growth is promising, etc. Different breakdown. Also, we are trying to do the analysis based on competition and the business model to say we are very attractive. We are having an attractive business model and sustainable. So we do have a question there, some detailed questions. But before that, actually, I have two strategic questions I would like to discuss with you. It's a little bit high level.
Sure.
First question, I'm going to be very direct. For resort market, we have been actually I have worked with Club Med and other operator brands in the past. We believe the trend, especially short break from compared to long haul and overseas trips, definitely a trend growing very fast. We also believe that increasing affordability can drive up the luxury sector. That's for sure.
Right.
Meanwhile, we also see two downside or challenges. One is the expanding capacity, although it's different, lower tier, low quality, SOP not good, etc. But driven by local real estate companies or local government. Those what they call 5-star resort. They also have activities, local relationships. And those expanding capacity, together with the, for luxury sector, we feel like the consumer are not that loyal, honestly. They do, if you look at Club Med or the other luxury, they do have this kind of loyal customer, but the overall contribution to the growth is not that significant. So, expanding capacity together with the low loyalty probably will bring some challenges because for one set, for our current sites, we believe that's successful and no doubt. But for the future, what do you see our key strengths to, for every day we win the new customers and we retain them to make a business, business case. So what's our key differentiator?
So let's start from the market first, and then I'll get to in a second on the differentiator side. So the first is the China story. The middle to upper middle market is expanding, and everybody is aspiring to do certain things. You call it affordability. That's increasing across China, and then people are looking to. I want to. There are desires that I want to be able to do this. So you take that as the first point. The second point, which is also happening within China's story, as you I'm sure have done studies on this, that how the spend of the affordability is just I have some extra cash.
Right.
Now the second choice is where do I spend that cash, and our choices. So the first trend or first wave of spending was on collecting things. I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this, I've got things. But collecting things is not necessarily enriching the lives. And then so the next wave of spending that's happened, which is for last 5-6 years, maybe even 7. So we find ourselves in a very good, from a timing point of view, that the trend of the people who can afford is shifting from just collecting things to experiencing things. So if you I remember there was a Chicago booth event, and the VP of MasterCard, they had done a lot of data, like big data analysis, and how the spending trend is shifting on things that are not physical things, right, but actual. I've gone through that experience. I've gone mountain climbing. I've gone. I'm into cycling club, or I'm traveling to Europe, and going to a mountain resort. So it's something that fulfills life, and I'm buying an experience that's mine forever. So that trend is driving a big market. So now, at a high level, come back to what is Naked's business model? So there's been resorts in China even before, but by and large, majority of the resorts that have existed in China have been destination resorts.
Right.
So you can fill that place 5 times during a Chinese New Year holiday or a May holiday or or even during the summer holidays. Sanya is a great example.
Right.
During the summer they'll charge you I don't know 10,000 RMB, but then so they try to make all their money in 3 months.
Yep.
Because one of the key choices that we have made is not to be a destination resort. We want to be I think you mentioned it also, a city getaway. That So there are 2 elements to it. One, you cannot be too close to the city because then it's not a getaway. If you're, let's say, in Shashan, doesn't feel like I left the city. So it has to be far enough, but not too far. So we say 2 to 3 hours. 2.5 hours is sort of the sweet spot where you can take off, and you have to be, and it's not a city getaway from Jinan, because Jinan doesn't really have 2 things. One, the customer itself is not sophisticated yet.
Right.
And the second, there isn't large enough population. So tier 1 cities only.
Right.
That's our model. That Shanghai. We're looking at places around Shenzhen, Guangzhou area, which can also sort of in a way have access to Hong Kong. Beijing is a little bit. We've looked at Beijing hundreds and hundreds of times, but Beijing is a little bit challenging from 2 point of views. One, the regulatory issues in Beijing are 5 times stricter. So
right.
Almost every time the developer that we are trying to work with, they'll end up having some sort of an issue. And we've seen some amazing sites. And the second, which we can address with design, the weather in Beijing is a lot more challenging.
Right.
Than it would be in the warmer climates, but not something that we cannot deal with by creating designs where there's lots of covered corridors and
indoor,
indoor, but it feels transparent glass covered corridors where you feel you're outside but you're inside. So we have a plan of addressing that, but it is a little bit more challenging. So now let's say you come back to Shanghai and maybe we're looking at Chengdu and Shenzhen and our expansion. And if you compare, this would address sort of the capacity, the competitor capacity. So if you look at let's say Moganshan as a starting point, and you draw a circle around Moganshan for 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive circle. And you get Shanghai, you get Suzhou, you get Hangzhou, Nanjing, and maybe even Ningbo if you stretch it a little bit. And the population in these cities, if you add up, it's like 60 million people in this catchment area. And then you compare what is the population of Australia. Or Vietnam, or any of these large countries. And Australia is a great example because Vietnam, you would say that hey, people are coming to Vietnam from outside, so it's not the but the number of resorts that maybe in Australia, the beach resorts and the other resorts that are serving the population of 35 or 30 some million people in all of Australia.
Yeah.
So the market is severely underserved right now.
Right.
And as the awareness is increasing, and the wealth is increasing, and desire to do something different, and I'm not going to follow my mother's or my grandmother's style that I'm joining a tour with a bus and a flag and a mic. The people, the young people don't want to be part of it.
Right.
They've seen it, and we've all seen it, and it still exists. But people are trying to differentiate. Because like, hey, that's what my grandmother did.
Right.
Because everybody had to do things in a group, and now the individuality is starting to play. So I'm going to choose my own. And there's 60 million people, Shanghai as an example. For our business model, we have to be in an area where the catchment within 2 to 3 hour drive is fairly large, because not everybody who's in 60 million is our target customer, but a large portion of that is. And as the affordability and the desire to do something, and this is just an anecdotal example that I'll share with you. When we opened back in 2011, it was actually pre-opening, and Alibaba, who's from Hangzhou, their team, I don't know whether Jack Ma was there or not at that time. He's been to our resort to check out on a different occasion. But Alibaba, his very senior team was on site, and the driver was walking around, and he met with one of our managers, and he said, this is back in 2011, before our actual opening, and he said, I'm going to save money and I'm going to bring my wife here. And that's quite a touchy statement, that it's the aspiration. Right. He said, I can't afford it today, but I'm going to save money to come here, because I also want to be able to live in this villa, and I also want my family or my wife or my kids to experience this. So that desire to reach out more than I'm going to save to come here. So that starts to bring in a lot more than only the rich people, who can afford to be in places like Naked Stables. Right. So that's still at a market level. We believe that the capacity that's currently there is not enough. It's massively short, and that's why we are able to have, especially during the summertime, July, August, the weekends and weekdays get full, 4 to 8 weeks in advance, fully booked, and so much so that we have raised prices and prices and prices, and now we feel guilty because if you increase prices too far, then the expectations become unreal. Right. People think that you should be flown on a red carpet, and when they don't, then there is a very negative feeling that, hey, I paid so much, but I didn't get value. Economics will tell you that, hey, there is demand, the supply is limited, you should continue to raise prices until the demand and supply match, but it creates a very negative expectation. So that's why we are able to fill our resort 4 to 6 weeks in advance, and sometimes my friends, Grant's friends, will call us and say, hey, I'm thinking of going to Mogan Shan tomorrow, can you help me book a room? Well, how about 4 weeks later? And they almost feel that I'm trying to, be cheap and not give them a discount. But there isn't we have this fight with the government all the time. The government of the local area says that, hey, we need to be able to call you on a short notice, and you must give us a room for our VIPs, and so impossible. Because we cannot, unlike a normal city hotel that always has excess capacity. We don't want to keep a room empty. If it's available to be sold, it's sold, because every room that's not full, we are losing money because there is demand, and all of that is in advance, because we have zero walk-in. We don't take walk-in. People are not lost in Mogan Shan and saying, oh, what am I going to do tonight? Instead of catching a plane, let me stay at Naked Stables. So that's not our customer. Our customer is who's not saying that I want to go to Mogan Shan, and once I'm in Mogan Shan, where do I stay? Our customer is, I'm going to Mogan Shan to I'm going to Naked Stables or Naked Castle, and that happens to be in Mogan Shan. So so that has been our model. Now, what has happened in the last 2-3 years? People have seen the success. And Mogan Shan, which used to be a primary destination for Shanghai elites in early 1900s, if you look at the historic records, Shanghai Sheikh and all his people, whether the Shanghai Mafia and all the foreigner, the missionaries, they used to go to Mogan Shan as a retreat, and after the Second World War and Cultural Revolution, that kind of died. So this is almost like a second or third coming of Mogan Shan.
Yeah.
And as a lot of people, so the road between Naked Stable and Naked Castle, it's about a 5-kilometer road that goes through a town. And 5-6 years ago, that road was a absolute village road. Children, running around, little children running around with chickens and pigs, and the housewives are drying lettuce for the winter, and very village environment. Now there's not almost one house on that road, that 5-kilometer road, that has not been converted into some sort of a bed and breakfast. Every single house has been converted into some sort of a living, like a, I won't say a resort, but some sort of a place where you can go and sleep.
Right.
So the number of rooms have come up in a much bigger way. But so you get and the prices of these places are also, they are significantly lower than where we are. But they're not cheap, So when people, and the people who are going there are wealthy people who are paying 1,000 RMB. So our ADR may be close to 2,300. That's ADR, but our typical prices are more like 2,900, 3,000. These people may be selling at 1,000, and 1,000 is still expensive. It's not cheap because I can book a room in Hilton for 1,000 right here in Shanghai. But the key differentiator ends up being that once I've paid 1,000 RMB and once I'm checked in and maybe the room is semi-nice, and then what? Then what am I going to do? So the resort, the visit to a resort is not about just sleeping in the room.
Yeah.
It's I'm going there. Not as a means of sleeping, and then I'm going to go visit Jinmao Tower, and I'm going to visit the Jain Buddha. So people who are coming to Shanghai, they are coming to Shanghai and check out Shanghai. And when I'm staying in a Hilton or whatever hotel, that's just a place to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Hilton to check out Hilton. The Hilton, Sheraton, they all same. Whereas people, when they are going to a resort, they are going there for the resort itself, not for the town. So if you end up going to one of the newer places that have come up, what is the programming, and how is that programming executed? First, the resource has to be there. So if these houses that were village houses have now been converted into a 10-bedroom B&B or a 20-bedroom B&B or whatever the case may be, what can your guests now do? And do you actually have the scale to be able to offer them, enough activities to make it meaningful to you? Because if you only have 20 rooms or 30 rooms, or you can't create a lot of activities because there isn't enough scale. So what actually that lands up doing is we actually have a line in front of our gate, because all these people who are staying there, they want to now do horse riding. Now they want to eat in a nice fine dining restaurant. Now they want to go swimming. Now they want to do Tai Chi or yoga or biking, mountain biking, or make pottery, or all sorts of things that are we can't let them in because it's not fair to the people who are staying with us. We are providing an exclusive place for people who are our overnight guests, but it creates a little bit of friction because everybody is a VIP in China, and everybody knows somebody. So what we have done is we've actually put a 800 RMB entrance. It's not a ticket. It's you have to pay 800 RMB to get in. And then you can spend that 800 RMB on something. But we only sell 50 of these tickets every day. So instead of saying, no, I'm not going to let you in, which you lose face. Because if I say, oh, sorry, we are sold out. So at least, you don't lose face. Hey, can you please come back tomorrow? Today we are sold out.
Yep.
Rather than saying, hey, if you wanted to come here, you should have booked here and not in some other place. So it creates a little bit of revenue stream, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is to how we control the crowd. But there used to be fights, and the police will get involved, and it creates as a side point that we have actually asked our front gate guards to wear the front-facing video cameras. Mm-hmm. So, the moment there is a argument, our SOP is that they have to start recording. So if you can see what is being recorded, so your behavior changes, and I know that the whole thing is recorded, so my behavior changes. So this is something Chicago police did for the police brutality. So because otherwise we were having lots of issues where the guards, they are trying to be helpful to the company because they are following the company policy, but they may end up going overboard, and now they are having a fist fight, mm-hmm. and not good for the reputation. So anyway, the point being that there is lots of capacity that has come up, mm-hmm. but the meaningful capacity is still there isn't one place. What is it called now? It's called it used to be called Andaman, and now it's called something else. So there is one large resort came up 2 years ago, and they were going to open 500 rooms, and they half built, and it was a Malaysian company and had some local partner. And they were simply, if you go there, it looks like exact copy of So to copy the hardware is easy, but to be able to deliver the service and the experience is not trivial. And we as you talk to the GMs and the people at the operation level, you will see that the training is so critical, to be able to, and we actually, internally, we say that we are still shit in terms of our service. We are the best in China, but compared to our aspiration where we want to be, we are still not there. Because if you compare China and let's say Thailand or Philippines, in these cultures, in these countries, the service culture is like embedded. Yeah. From day one they were born. Here the 60-year-old eyes have to be taught that this is not cleaning. Maybe it's in your house, maybe it's in my house, but you can't say, okay, here you go. You cannot do that. So there are certain standards and how the importance of when you're greeting a guest. When you are 10 meters away from me, I should make an eye contact with you. When I'm 5 meters away from you, I should greet you, that ni hao, wan chang hao, or whatever, so that you feel that you're not a stranger. If the normal culture would be that I don't know you, I just pass you, and you as a guest feel that hey, everybody just kind of looks at me as if I don't exist. So when somebody said, hey, how's the day, or did you have a nice meal, you feel you belong. So small things, at that level, to making sure that the cleanliness standards and the how you deliver service to children, to old people, to middle-aged people, and it has to be continuously embedded. And now, for last 6-7 years, as we have been doing this thing over and over and over, you create a critical mass of people who got it. But in the hotel industry, there's always a churn. So people leave. And they go to other resorts, or they go to other provinces. So our focus is to try and hire as many local people as possible, because the local people are more likely to want to stay. But people who are in the hotel industry, there are people who are like I'm in Guangzhou, and then I'm in Chengdu, and they've already left their home. So for them to switch to somewhere else is actually very easy. But the people who are local, the Bandiran, who are from the local areas, they are more likely to remain loyal to you, and some of them might actually go to one of the competitors because the guy is offering them 10 more RMB, and then they realize that I got 10 more RMB, but the benefits that I was getting at Naked and how I was being treated, and how the whole benefits and policies were a lot better than this, and a lot of them actually come back.
Yeah.
We actually almost never, as a policy, we never match. Anybody who wants to leave, hey, good luck, and we'll see you later. And they go back, and then they realize, no, this small gig doesn't work, and a lot of them come back. So the key differentiator is to be able to not just create programming, not just create hardware. That's the easy part. And there is, there's clearly, competitive advantage we have in terms of creating a sense of luxury, which is simple and sustainable. That's our design, IP. So if you go around Moganshan, which at some point I'm hoping you will see that there are what people call mini naked stables. People have copied the style exactly, and we have a museum where we show all our construction details. And there are people who would come with tripod and cameras, and they take picture frame by frame. So we believe that if people are copying us in a good way, they are doing what we are trying to promote, which is sustainability. So if they are also building with sustainable materials, if they are also recycling water, if they are also using solar panels, if they are also using LED lights, and if they are also trying to get a LEED or some other sustainability certification, it's better for the environment. Because more people are doing what we believe is important for the environment. But copying hardware itself may be doable, but then having the programming, having the scale, and having the ability to deliver that on an ongoing basis is not trivial. And we've been doing it for 10 years, but we still think there is big room for improvement on how we can delight our customers, who are becoming more and more discerning, not more demanding. Because demanding sounds like you're asking for something that's unreasonable. But now the 90% or 92% of our customers are local Chinese. These customers have traveled abroad, have been to other very nice places, and they have seen what is the global standard. Not foreign, but what is the global standard, and they are expecting the same global standard at this place. So we are not trying to. Our aim is not necessarily, hey, in China everybody's crap, so as long as we're better than that, we are doing well. We are trying to meet the expectations of these very globally aware customers, and it's a continuous effort. And having as we're starting to build scale with 2 resorts in Moganshan and Naked Water in Suzhou that's opening, and it allows us to start rotating our employees from one place to another, and then it gives them the career progression opportunities. So if you're in just one small resort, then after 2 years, what happens? There isn't a upward move or lateral, or I'm bored with this place, I want to do something else. So you can go to Suzhou, and then you can go to Naked Orchard behind that, or we're doing something in Wuxi, and behind that, Chongming Island, we're starting something. So that scale is very critical, not only for giving people different service experiences, because each resort will have different focus on activities, which will be driven by the local, what are the local specialities, but also creating career opportunities so that people can remain within our system. They're going from one resort to another, but within our system. And the last piece that I wanted to mention regarding our business model is so the weekend getaway is one aspect, but in the week there are 7 days. So if I'm only full on the weekends, more than 60% of my inventory. So every day my inventory expires. Because I can't sell yesterday's room today. If I'm selling bananas, maybe I can sell yesterday's banana today, maybe at half price. But if my room is gone, so we have an inventory that expires every night. It's expired if it's not occupied. much like the airplane, once the plane takes off, I can't sell that seat tomorrow. So it's very critical for us to keep a reasonably high occupancy even during the weekdays. And that's where the conference resort, the concept of during the week we are a conference resort, and during the weekend we are a weekend getaway. So, and again, to be close to 2.5 hours away from a large city that houses many large companies who would be doing their offsites, their product launches, their PR events, their promotions and what have you. So they have an option that instead of being in Hilton, that we've done it 10 times or 4 seasons, or in the city, hey, let me take my team outside the city, but not so far as to go to Thailand or Philippines, because the logistics of that is so much more complicated than just taking a bus and going to Mogan Chand, doing our meetings, arriving there in the afternoon, doing some meetings, doing some team building, sleep overnight, next day do more meetings, more team building or whatever the objectives are, and then back to Shanghai. So that plays a big role in our balancing our occupancy during the weekdays and weekends. So we are able to, over the whole year, we are able to have occupancies, high 60s to lower 70s, and that's we feel that's if you go above that, then you start to put too much pressure on because it's a high service model.
Right.
And if there is no, it needs to go like this, so that the staff has time to recover and be able to continue to give this fresh service. So more than 70%, a little bit on the high side. So we try to cap it there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for.
Hi, good morning.
Hi
guys.
Good morning.
Hi. Oh, this is BCG people, not the PwC stuff.
No. So this is the Brookfield. The Brookfield hired BCG to
yes.
do the report this year.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to say to him that I might be late on the PwC meeting.
Okay.
Because I saw the call and
Okay.
fine.
Nice to
Anyway,
meet you.
cheers.
Really?
Nice meeting you. Cheers.
Because I have it's called my CFO. He was trying to reach me.
Sure.
So we've actually hired PwC to do like a health check for our internal controls and
Yeah.
to make sure that at some point with hopefully with Brookfield, if we were to start looking at listing the company, we want to make sure that our internal processes are in compliance with because to correct things in the past is a lot more difficult rather than putting controls now.
Yeah.
So we have a meeting with them. So just give me a second.
Sure. No problem.
Hey Jay, I'm in Mandela meeting room with friends from BCG that have come through Brookfield. So let me know where the PwC meeting is, and I'll join you maybe a few minutes later. Hey Jay. Hey, are the PwC people here? Where is that meeting? I'm in Mandela. I'm just finishing up with maybe a few minutes later. I'm finishing up with BCG, who's been engaged by Brookfields on the resort market study. You can hear me. Hello. Okay. So where is your meeting? I'll join you in a few minutes. Hello, Jay. Let's continue with our conversation. So having that weekday occupancy is very important, and the type of activities. Hey Jay, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm with BCG, who's been engaged by Brookfield, as you know, for the resort study. So let me know where you are, and I'll join you shortly. 5th floor. Okay, shopping, not meeting room. Okay, I'll join you shortly as soon as I finish here. All right. Yes. Okay. All right, bye.
Yeah.
So the type of programming that the companies are looking may not be identical to the type of activities and things that friends and families and individuals, what we call the FIT segment, would be doing. So the companies need to have not just facilities, but also with respect to their team building or facilitation. So, and that's something that we've been doing for the last 10 years, and we've been quite successful. And that model balances quite well with the weekend model, because both the weekend customer and the weekday customer, they feed each other.
Exactly.
So when people, let's say, BCG organize something at Naked Stables, and you go there, and he's like, I'm going to bring my wife and my kids here. I want to come here on weekends. And the other way around, when, like, let's say you go there with your family, and you look around, it's like, maybe I should do my team building here. So the both the customers, they feed the other demand. And that works quite well to be able to have the weekday and weekend occupancy, and that's why we cannot be, if we are 4 hours away from the city, you lose almost both, and then it becomes just like a holiday only destination, which we want to stay away from that.
Right. Fully agree. I think, I think the brand and the service we're also trying to emphasize that will be our advantage, and potentially can be the barrier as the first mover. Right. Especially the 2B business, like to cooperate to that mass clients. I think in our hypothesis, it's one of our key competence. It's relatively a sweet spot. Right. The loyalty is there, stickiness there, price sensitivity is low, and they are very much focusing on activities. They don't want to hire another company to arrange activities. So sweet spot, and then we benchmark the other competitors around the area. Our occupancy rate is much higher, especially to the other pure resorts. Believe that it will be a key, factor that from corporate clients, and which we also believe in for the new sites. That will be potentially like this co-working concept. Like you can bring those clients there
to the resorts, and not the. And you're absolutely right that the co-working part, as it's evolving to have large customers like Viking on the 8th floor, so they've taken the whole floor. So it's not, they've taken 300 desks. So it's not a 5-person company, not a 10-person company. They've taken a whole floor. American Chamber of Commerce have moved into our Sunliton office, so they've taken 100-some desks. So when large companies are moving in, they become our cross customers, and the brand association is also meaningful from a lifestyle point of view.
Right.
That one of the key reasons for us to open co-working in as we were experimenting with the co-working and a restaurant business. We just before the co-working, we opened a restaurant business called Naked Bite. And the idea of Naked Bite, and to a certain extent also co-working, was to bring our brand, which exists in the mountains, to bring that brand into the city.
Right.
Because even when we are full, in the resorts, during a year, about 50 to 60,000 people will touch our brand, and that's not that's quite small. But when you put the brand on Nanjing Lu or on Yan'an Lu or in Xintiandi, millions of people are looking at our brand and like, oh, Naked. So even though the Naked Hub business is relatively very new compared to our resort business, it has actually given a much bigger boost for the brand awareness.
Right.
It's like, oh wow, you guys are everywhere.
Yes.
Now, to redecorate a building and put a few logos and start co-working, it's a 3-month effort at best. And like let's say 2,500 square meter space, it's anywhere between 7 to 8 million RMB.
Yeah.
Whereas to build a resort, it's a 3 to 5 year effort, and it's 250 to 400 million RMB. So it takes much more effort on the resort side, but you are hidden in mountain. And you're hidden in the mountain almost by design. You don't want to be, you have to be exclusive, you have to be with the nature, but the brand presence is missing. So having Luoshinshe, having a brand right on, you can see it from Yan'an Road, or when you go to Xintiandi, it's right in the, people, if you stand there, I don't know if you've been to our Xintiandi Hub or not, we have created this sitting bench with our hubbers, and there's almost a line of people who want to sit there and take photos. So it's become a photo spot in Xintiandi. So these people are now becoming aware of our brand, and with the brand, the whole philosophy of simple and sustainability. So as people are affording more wealth, they are also becoming more environmentally conscious. So it's not that I'm going to pay extra money to be green, but I can pay about the same money, and I can get a great experience, and then I want to be green.
Yeah.
So it's the whole sustainability lifestyle and simplicity of design, that this is cool. This is not my grandmother's design. This is not my parents' design. It's different, and I'm going to associate myself with this design is becoming a much bigger differentiating factor now that we have a brand presence in the city as well as outside. So as an example, people who become new members of Naked Hub, their company has decided to move into Naked Hub. The very first thing they do is they post photos of their office. Now, nobody posts photos of their office because the office is not cool. Maybe you may post the photo if you are, let's say, in the Shanghai Tower. So you are proud to be in Shanghai Tower because it's an iconic building, but you will not post photos of inside because inside is quite boring. Whereas people there are like, oh, can I take a photo here? Can I take a? So when they are posting the photos saying that I'm in this office, they are saying I'm associating. I'm proud of this is who I am. It's sort of like people walking in with lunch bags and the bag is Chloe. By saying that, hey, I'm associating myself with Chloe or Louis Vuitton or whatever the case may be, and more girls than boys. If you look in any elevator, all the girls are carrying the lunch box in a branded bag. Why? Because they are saying, hey, this is who I am. So our Naked Hub members as well as our resort guests are connecting with our brand. So this ecosystem of businesses that we have with resort, with co-working, and now we are about to launch a third business, co-living, which would be city-based, and it's essentially the co-working idea, but working is during the day and co-living is at night. So this is where you go to sleep. But and so the people who are starting to connect that, hey, I do this and I do this. I'm Lotion Run. I'm a Naked people. Not from the just I'm buying their stuff, but I'm buying their philosophy of being simple and sustainable and minimalist. You know, I don't need a lot. I need something that that's sufficient for me. So that part is quite critical.
Yeah.
To add on that.
We can come in. So you're going to be meeting with him next, I guess.
Okay.
I'm just wrapping up.
Hi.
You want them to wait as we wrap up and then?
Yeah, we'll grab a cup of coffee and then
Okay.
we'll be right back. You guys want anything to drink?
Okay.
Fine, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So to add on that, so do we have like a customer relationship management across all the business side? So how big is our Nikkei Hub, Nikkei Funds part?
Nick, so our WeChat, account, so we manage our fan club from 2 or 3 different social media databases. So one is the WeChat account, and something that it was been long debated, and this is the issue with WeChat structure right now.
Okay.
So you cannot. WeChat hasn't created a corporate structure yet that you can have. This is the overall database, and then this is this is Naked Hub, and so initially we used our overall Naked fan club to promote Naked Hub. But then it becomes a little bit intrusive that you're interested in resort primarily, and I keep telling you I'm opening a new office, and then you're like, hey, I've got nothing to do with Naked Hub. It becomes a little bit too much. So we had to separate. We started a new fan club for Naked Hub, and then people who are becoming the Naked Hub members are joining them for Naked Hub. Whereas, so there's crossover. So now, so we have more than 100,000 people in our on the resort WeChat, which was the original Naked WeChat account, and similarly the email database that we have. So both the WeChat and the email database, which is also another 100,000 people, is essentially anybody who has been to our resort or has done inquiry about going to our resort. So it's people who are actually keenly interested. Not necessarily, you can buy an email database of 1 million people,
right,
and half of them, are not even in the city anymore. So the fan club that we have is fairly captive. And on the Naked Hub side, they are starting actually. They started from scratch with 2,000-3,000 members, and as the Naked Hub network is growing, they've already gotten 40,000-50,000 people who are in that fan club. And at some point, we need to figure out an IT solution that. Tencent is quite protective on giving the identity of the person who are part of your club. So how we can take these people, and the Naked Pillow, which is our co-living brand, and Bula, which we have launched as a wellness platform within the Naked umbrella. How we can all bring it together in a corporate fan club.
Yeah.
That's something our IT team is working on.
Yeah. I know you are busy running for the next meeting, so actually I have another important question we may not finish today,
Sure.
but I just want to bring it out.
Okay.
So we fully align that market opportunities there, our positions there, but going forward, we are actually going through some significant change from two sites manager to a hotel manager group, which requires different capabilities, especially the operation. Our business requires a lot of attention, people, especially senior attention, detail management. So the capability, the IT, especially the team, churn rate, they ask for higher salaries, balance pays well, they are expensive, etc. So how to ensure the team capability and the infrastructure, especially, sorry, I'm a little bit, putting everything together. That's capability required together with, in the future, how we split from, for example, Naked Hub. Manoj, I know you are very busy, so how to ensure enough the capability for them?
So what we started to do, beginning, we started in the middle part of 2015, but in a meaningful way only in 2016, we realized that the Naked brand is growing, and so it's not just the multiple resorts, but one level above, there are different lines of businesses are starting to emerge. So before 2015, Grant, me, Delphine, we are Naked, we are the Naked Group, everything, and it was just focused on one business. So in 2016, we started to separate the businesses. So we hired John Seliger, who was the head of Coach. He was the CEO of Coach China, and before that he was the head of Dunhill China. So he's got a lot of retail experience, building a box, make it profitable, build another. So he grew the Coach business from 50 stores to 250 stores throughout China. So and John, who was a friend of Grant and mine, and we've known him and his wife, and we hired him from Coach to be the head of the Naked Hub business. And then we started to separate the marketing team. So now he's got his own exclusive marketing team, his own finance team, his own sales team, his own IT team, his own operations team. So the crossover that was happening in 2014 and 15 between the marketing team is one day they are promoting the resort, and second day they are promoting the Naked Hub or restaurant. So that had to be separated. This year or 2017, we hired Tolga from Banyan Tree and IHG and Club Med, all the resort and hotel experience, to be the leader of the resort business. So all the GMs reported to him, and so he's the John Seliger equivalent of the Naked Resort. So Grant and me, we can step outside. So we obviously have a lot of information on the history and how some of the decisions were made, but we are not involved on the day-to-day business on any of the businesses. So we are involved. We remain at the group level. That the brand alignment between Hub and Resort and Pillow and our brand values need to be followed throughout, so that these people don't go off here and these people are going somewhere else. But each of the business. So just last night I sent the details to Brookfield. How our hotel management company, which was our headquarter essentially. So this hotel management company was everything, and then we started to grow Naked Hub. So Naked Hub already has 200 people, which are their boss is John Seliger, and these 200 people have nothing to do with the resort business. So that the rest of the group that was left, it already has two sets of people. One who are focused entirely on the resort, and one who are in the group. So we have carved out the people who are at the group level, who would be incubating new businesses or who would be supporting the overall corporate. So likes of me and Jane and Jay, who you would be speaking with, and Grant and Delphine and our design team. All of that has been carved out as a group resource. And Tolga now has his own marketing team, his own independent sales team, his own independent finance team. So his resources are completely exclusive. And currently he's got about 53 people that are exclusively for the hotel management company. And then that grows as more resorts come in, more salespeople, more reservations people. So his reservations team, his call center has nothing to do with any other businesses. So that's all under the resort, the Naked Hotel Management Company umbrella.
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
So we can talk.
Yeah. So you can talk to him about that. So and as a next step, what will happen is. So legally, right now, legally speaking, there is only one legal entity that has the group people and the hotel management company people. So right now, the company that I have my labor contract and the company that Tolga has a labor contract is one and the same. But we are creating a new company, and the existing company and the new company, one will be the group company and one will be a hotel management company. So his contract will be with the hotel management company, and mine will be with the group company. And the Naked Hub is already separate from 2015. And as we launch Naked Pillow, our co-living business, that will start as a separate entity.
Right.
So initially the group, we keep some resources in the group, some marketing resource, some finance resource, but primarily for incubating.
All right.
And once the business starts to big enough, then we hire the leader and then let the leader build their own team, just the way it happened on the Naked Hub side, 200 people. Tolga has about 50, 60 people, and Tolga's team will probably grow more. So every time you open a resort, there's 200, 300, 400 people at the resort level. But the headquarters, where the two functions that are critical, marketing and sales. So unlike any other resort, we have actually chosen to move these functions from the site to the headquarters. Because we believe, first of all, the customer is not in the mountain. So if the customer is not in the mountain, then why am I putting my sales team in the mountains?
Right.
Or the reservations can be in India, because it's all on the phone call, as long as they are familiar with the product and speak the language. So we keep the reservations team in Shanghai, and that supports all the resorts. Also the sales team, sales and reservation, just the selling, and the marketing team. Unlike Banyan Tree or Club Med, the marketing team sits at the resort level, and that small team is trying to promote that particular site, whereas our marketing team is not promoting one site. They are saying, hey, lotion, and I can give you, if you are interested, I can give you lotion Bao, I can give you lotion Gul, I can give you lotion Che, or not lotion Che, another naked resort. So when I go to visit a company, I'm not trying to sell you one particular resort. It doesn't matter which one you want. I have all the options because I work for the group company, and I will give you the option that's most meaningful to you. So the sales and marketing functions sit at the headquarter level and not at the property. Yep. And the third thing that is a benefit for this structure is that first there's synergies. You don't need 2 people in every resort. And second thing is that I can hire a lot more capable people at the center level than to hire. It's very difficult to hire a very qualified marketing person and ask them to be in Moganshan. Right. And their responsibility is just promote this resort. So the capability that I can hire here is much, much higher, and then their scope is all the resorts, and then they can build a team within their own structure. The effectiveness of this team is much higher than if I put 2 to 2 people in each of the resorts, which seems to be the model that every other resort or hotel seems to follow. Yeah. And then their job becomes just creating flyers and promotions. So their marketing is almost very tactical sales, rather than creating content about sustainability and why is Naked Brand important to you, and creating stories about Christmas and creating stories about snow, and they're a little bit at a higher level. We are trying to connect with our customer at an emotional level rather than, hey, I can save you 10% if you buy the ticket today. Right. So it's becoming completely independent now. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
All
I'm sorry
for
so
I'm happy to once you do all your interviews, and if you want to do a wrap up, and I actually highly encourage you guys also to talk to Grant because a lot of the seed comes from what he wanted to achieve. As a South African who was in Shanghai, and he was just sick of being in a city and like, I want to get out. So you will get a lot of rich content listening to him. So at some point, definitely talk to Grant.
I will talk to your team. Probably have more questions.
All right, no worries. And,
sorry to keep you so long.
No. It's important to us, and happy to talk about our story.
Thank you very much. We'll try our best.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me get Tolga.
All right, thank you. 挺好的，所以已经死掉了。你看，先聊到现在 sense， 然后再聊聊 future expansion。我担心他这儿，他播出去以后，那我还是不理解他们那边 budget 是怎么做的，完全他们自己独立。
一般做独立案件的
是独立考试。
所以必须得快。
对，是这样好奇。然后我觉得先聊聊，跟这个。看不虚错，所以我给他等会儿。别跟我聊这些。